before anyone asks why I'm sat next to a half-decorated tree and a polar bear. We're just starting decorating. We haven't finished getting all of the stuff we need ready, but we got this little polar bear. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about agents. Right. So the process with agents is that you get in touch with an agent, or an agent gets in touch with you because you've posted something. Remember, I said on Facebook, Malta Times, or on Malta Park. So you post something and then they get in touch with you. Now then they're going to show you some properties, okay? The owner will be there for each of the visits. I think there was one that the owner wasn't going to be there, but we ended up we couldn't get into the apartment. So yeah, generally the owner's there. And it's not like in Britain and other countries where they have a management agency. I mean, I'm sure they do have those, but in this case the agent is just doing the introduction between you and the owner. For that, you're paying half a month's rent, and so is the owner. So when you sign your contract, you give a deposit. You put it when you decide you want it. You put a deposit down, and then they pay half of that deposit, and then you have to pay an extra half a month's rent to the agent. And they get that just for the introduction. They get the contract signed with you and make sure everything's done. They do also do the negotiation with us. We used a few agents. We used a couple from one agency, which was Quick Let. We did settle on one guy, but he was just so up and down. He was the first day we met him, he showed us a few, and then he just disappeared on the weekend. And I sat around Friday and Saturday, and waiting for him to show me other stuff. Because you kind of feel like you're committed to them because they get commission, so you kind of feel like you have some kind of commitment. So we're there waiting Saturday and Sunday, and then nothing happens really. He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of given up because he thinks that maybe you're not going to choose one that he's got for you. So it's a bit funny that, and then because you kind of feel committed because they're getting commission and they've spent time with you. But at the end of the day, you're not going to choose, and you shouldn't choose, somewhere to live for a year just because you like the guy who's shown you the place. Just because he shows you a place, it doesn't mean you've got to live there. And I think that you've got to really, take care of your own interests there, because you don't want to live in a place which you didn't like very much, you didn't even like when you chose it, just because you wanted to keep somebody happy. The best agent that we had was Connie.
This is Connie, my agent. My agent sounds like I'm like a football player or something.
She's the one that we signed up with. Now Connie, by total contrast, was very calm. Okay, so she showed me a property. She offered to pick me up. I didn't want to waste people's time if I didn't like the place, but so I met her at both of the places we went to. But she offered to pick me up. There was no real pressure. She just wanted to know how I felt about it. Just keeping tabs. And then she sent me other alternatives on Facebook. I've got this one and this one, and and in the end, I liked one that she had, and she was very calm about it. She helped me negotiate with the owners. The owners wanted something, and we wanted something, and we kind of managed to negotiate in the middle because I liked the apartment and they were happy for us to move in, and so it was. It was good. She was very good. So it's difficult really because you've got some people who work basically for themselves, people like Connie, and then you've got other people who work in big companies and they're kind of driven by targets because they only get a fraction of the money that they bring in, and they're going to register a lot of properties. Whereas if you've got someone that works for themselves, I think then it's a little bit better. Obviously they have a lot less access to properties than someone in one of the big companies. So yeah, I did have a good experience with a Danish, I think it was Inga, from a website called For Rent in Malta. And she was nice, she was very personable, there was no pressure there, she just showed us the place. We did have one case of an owner that basically didn't want to pay the letting agency, so she kind of tried to give us her contact details so that we wouldn't have to pay and they wouldn't have to pay. But when it comes to something like that, you've got to really think about, is that someone you want to rent off? Someone that immediately tries to steal from someone, basically tries to take money from someone else, because that agent had taken time out from their day to show us that place, okay? Now that agent probably doesn't get paid unless something's rented. And I know it's a lot of money and the company takes a lot, but at the end of the day, you know, if you don't want to use an agent, don't use an agent. We did have a few problems as well also because we had 2 dogs. Getting something which where people like dogs is difficult, so like maybe 5% of properties. So if you don't have dogs, it's a lot easier for people to find you a place which is good for you, but yeah, it meant a lot more work from us to get somewhere that we really liked. This burger is massive, look at that. Massive burger.
Vegan burger. And what's that?
Just a house burger.
House burger, it's beef burger.
Yeah, Angus.
Angus burger. I'm not sure who Angus is, but he's got a lot of burgers these days.
Pumpkin soup, which is here, for the pumpkin soup, and my mother's on the same. Me 1 beat to 0. Well, not really. There's only actually 1 piece in there, right? The rest is just crust. Honest. The following takes place between Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon. Events do not occur in real time. So as you know, Tuesday afternoon, we still haven't decided anything, and what's happening now is we're going out to see one in Zira, which is spelled J-Z-I-R-A, and really that doesn't work out well, and then we head out to see one in where Connie says is called Swata. Yeah, so we head out there, and it was really nice. Nice people who, the owners, who were nice as well. So yeah, and so then we go off to the Naar, which we just had the video from, to talk about the options. So last night, we just went to see another place. Everybody thinks that I'm stalling now. So I'm a little bit, it's difficult, everything's got something wrong with it, but maybe that's because I'm making up problems with all of them. But yeah, tomorrow morning, got an early one. I'm going to leave at like 8 in the morning to get to this place. It's a house though, so with a garden, so that might be worth the trip anyway, we'll see. Alright, so following morning comes, and basically we still don't know where I'm going to stay, and it's getting really difficult now. We're down to 8 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting into one in Zeebrugge. Okay, so now we wake up early and we get up to Zeebrugge to see a house with 2 rooms, but it says it has a study, so we're quite hopeful about that. Okay, turns out that the study is just kind of like a hallway, and yeah, so it really wasn't possible. And then Connie calls me up, says she's got another one in Mzida, and so we go to look at that. That looked like something like a student area. Didn't look like something that families could live in. It was, you know, numbered rooms and a communal kitchen, so really wasn't something that we could live in, and it was in pretty bad state anyway. I still don't know where to go. So I asked Connie to drive us back to Ormy so we can see the area. Now, I'd only seen it in the night, and during the day it's actually quite a bit of an industrial area around the flat. So that turned into a no-go. But while I was looking around, Connie got a message from the owners from the Swatar one saying that that we could negotiate these things. And so Connie and I had a back and forth with them, and eventually we came to an agreement.
So I got my deposit, got the deposit and the commission fee here. To say we're cutting it close is an understatement. It's like 1:30 and we've got to leave at like 2. So yeah.
Our flight's at 4. We haven't checked out of the hotel. 2:30, everything's signed, and we're in the car. Connie's taking us back to the hotel. So we're in 2:30 now. Connie waits outside. We get our stuff, and she drives us to the airport, and we're out. So basically, it all came down to the very, very, very last minute. It was really difficult. I'll show you some photos of the place, but I can't really show you too much because it's not our place yet. So yeah.